Hello. I am JC Brown, a graduate student at Wayne State University, studying library and information science. As you can imagine, over the past few months, I've read stacks upon stacks of books. I'm here today to share 3 of my favorite recent young adult reads. The New England Witch Chronicles by Chelsea Bellingeri, The Book Thief by Markus Zusak, and The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne. According to professional review sources, these 3 books are geared towards readers in the 9th grade and up. However, I think it's worth noting that these 3 books are quite popular reads among adult readers too. So why these 3 books? Well, you'll soon find out, but I'll give you a hint. Each of these 3 stories has something to do with history. I'd like to introduce a new book that came out last summer, The New England Witch Chronicles by Chelsea Bellingeri. I picked up this book for a seminar on vampires, wizards, and superheroes, and the truth is, I couldn't put it down. So what's the book about? I'll read an overview provided by the author that sums it up pretty well. The Salem witch trials of 1692 were an embarrassing stain on America's revered past. Innocent people were persecuted at the hands of a few overzealous Puritans. But what if there were real witches during those colonial hunts? What if there are witches in present-day New England? That is what Alexandria Ramsey's crazy grandmother believes. Grandma Claudia claims Alex descends from a long line of New England witches. Modern-day witches in Hazel Cove, Massachusetts? Unlikely, but strange things are occurring in the weeks preceding Alex's 17th birthday, which also coincides with her family's annual Halloween party. Alex is haunted by bizarre reoccurring nightmares of a man chasing her through the Hazel Cove Cemetery. On a few occasions, when her emotions have spiraled out of control, inanimate objects have shattered around her. But that's just a coincidence, right? Alex isn't so sure, especially after a local girl who supposedly dabbled in witchcraft was killed in a nearby forest. Alex knows something strange is happening to her. With the arrival of a new boy in town, the mischievous James Van Kuren, who was making her life difficult and causing problems between Alex and her best friend Peter, Alex feels like her entire world is on the verge of chaos. Could Alex really be a witch? Is it possible Hazel Cove will become a battleground for modern-day witches and witch hunters? You'll just have to read the book and find out. This book ended up in my to-read stack by recommendation of a good friend. Unlike any book in which I've read, this piece is narrated by Death, which gives the story a curious, omniscient, or all-knowing point of view. Here's an overview from the book's jacket. Markus Zusak's groundbreaking new novel is the story of Liesel Meminger, a young foster girl living outside of Munich in Nazi Germany. Liesel scratches out a meager existence for herself by stealing when she discovers something she can't resist: books. Soon she is stealing books from Nazi book burnings, the mayor's wife's library, wherever they are to be found. With the help of her accordion-playing foster father, Liesel learns to read and share her stolen books with neighbors during bombing raids, as well as with the Jewish man hidden in her basement. In the first few pages of the story, Death himself even gives an overview, which I'll share with you. A small theory. People observe the colors of a day only at its beginning and ends, but to me it's quite clear that the day merges through a multiple of shades and intonations with each passing moment. A single hour can consist of thousands of different colors: waxy yellows, cloud spat blues, murky darknesses. In my line of work, I make it a point to notice them. As I've been alluding to, my one saving grace is distraction. It keeps me sane. It helps me cope, considering the length of time I've been performing this job. The trouble is, who could ever replace me? Who could step in while I take a break in your stock standard resort-style vacation destination, whether it be tropical or of the ski-type variety? The answer is, of course, nobody, which has prompted me to make a conscious, deliberate decision, to make distraction my vacation. Needless to say, I vacation in increments and colors. Still, it's possible that you might be asking, why does he even need a vacation? What does he need distraction from? Which brings me to my next point. It's the leftover humans. The survivors. They're the ones I can't stand to look at, although on many occasions I still fail. I deliberately seek out the colors to keep my mind off them. But now and then, I witness the ones who left behind. crumbling among the jigsaw puzzle of realization, despair, and surprise. They have punctured hearts. They have beaten lungs. Which in turn brings me to the subject I'm telling you about tonight, or today, or whatever the hour and color. It's the story of one of those perpetual survivors, an expert at being left behind. It's just a small story, really, about, among other things, a girl, some words, an accordionist, some fanatical Germans, a Jewish fist fighter, and quite a lot of thievery. I saw The Book Thief 3 times. Unlike many books you'll pick up, the inside flap of this piece doesn't shed much light upon what the story entails. In fact, this is all it reads. The story of the boy in the striped pajamas is very difficult to describe. Usually we give some clues about the book on the jacket, but in this case we think that would spoil the reading of the book. We think it is important that you start to read without knowing what it is about. If you do start to read the book, you will go on a journey with a 9-year-old called Bruno. Though this isn't a book for 9-year-olds, and sooner or later you will arrive with Bruno at a fence. Fences like this exist all over the world. We hope that you never have to encounter such a fence. I know, you probably want to know more about the book. I know I certainly would with just that information. So I'm going to read to you from a review in School Library Journal. Boyne has written a sort of historical allegory, a spare but vividly descriptive tale that clearly elucidates the atmosphere in Nazi Germany during the early 1940s that enabled the persecution of European Jews. Through the eyes of Bruno, a naive 9-year-old raised in a privileged household by strict parents whose expectations included good manners and unquestioning respect for parental authority, the author describes a visit from the Fury and the family's sudden move from Berlin to a place called Outwith in Poland. There, not 50 feet, a high wire fence surrounds a huge dirt area of low huts and large square buildings. From his bedroom window, Bruno can see hundreds, maybe thousands of people wearing striped pajamas and caps, and something made him feel very cold and unsafe. Uncertain of what his father actually does for a living, the boy is eager to discover the secret of the people on the other side. He follows the fence into the distance where he meets Shmuel, a small, sad-looking Jewish resident who, amazingly, has the same birth date. Bruno shares his thoughts and feelings with Shmuel, some of them his food, and his final day out with, knowing instinctively that his father must never learn about this friendship. While only hinting at violence, blind hatred, and deplorable conditions, Boyne has included pointed examples of bullying and fearfulness. His combination of strong characterization and simple, honest narrative makes this powerful and memorable tale a unique addition to Holocaust literature for those who already have some knowledge of Hitler's final solution. Like The Book Thief, this story is also a piece of historical fiction taking place during World War II. I'll admit to initially hearing about this book after the film first came out in 2008. My little film club that I belong to is covering the book and film this May, which prompted me to pick it up. Because I'm quite familiar with the movie, I found myself noting the differences just from reading the very first few pages, which was quite fun and interesting to compare. It's worth noting that the hardcover edition of this book bears a jacket that looks and feels as though it's made out of coarse fabric.